Hello, this is Greg Allison, Green Greg's coming to you on 11 July 22. Time on deck is 23:39 hours Central Daylight Time. I'll post this tomorrow. So, my friends, Putin laughs. You said, Greg, you got to be kidding me with how his troops are faring. How can he be laughing? Well, just wait. I'll show you. The economy in Russia is actually kind of sort of booming, as ours is zooming to being dooming. You guys say, Greg, this is crazy. I'm going to show you. I'm going to show you guys. Hang on, buckle up. We got a lot of stuff to go over here tonight. I'm going to try to get through it fairly fast. But we're going to look at the economic prospects. We're going to talk about the military, a little bit on the military side of what is happening, what could happen. And then we're going to try to wrap it up. So, my friends, you're not really prepared for what's coming. So let's talk about this. We're in some very precarious times, very dangerous times. And I'm going to be bringing you the news about this. So please subscribe to my channel, bang the update notification bell, and click off if you haven't done that. And if you have done that, please share my videos, and please leave a comment below, click like, and reply to somebody else's comment, because my channel has been stamped down by the platform real hard. So I need your help to get the word up and out, because I bring you news and views that are based in more stuff than you get from a lot of other places. And I bring you some of the best guests, and I have to start getting these guests back on soon. Anyway, friends, also get ready, prepare, because we all know that food inflation is upon us. We know civil strife is upon us, and we know there's all kind of prospects for WWIII. And let's hope and pray this don't come to pass. But hey, Joel Scozen just was interviewed by Nate on the Canadian Prepper, and he said that he believed 100% that we were going to have a nuclear war, and he thought it would happen in the next 3 to 5 years. And Nate actually thinks it's going to happen a lot sooner. So, guys, watch out. So do everything you can to prep now, because once everything starts going down, you won't be able to get anything. Grow your garden, like I talked about. But if you can handle it, by all means, consider it. Go to prepwithgreg.com, because there we've got a special deal, guys. This is lightweight, easy to bug out with. 2,000 calories a day, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, 3 meals, and you get a 3-month supply of this, with just 6 of these buckets for $150 off, which leaves you a price of less than $3 a meal, guys. It's not that bad. You know, when you think of 3 months food all at once, yeah, it looks bad. But when you look at it that way and look at how you can store this stuff, you can bury it in these containers. You can bury the pouches that's inside. These pouches can be thrown in your backpack. They're easy to transport. All this is easy to bug out with. It's all easy to hold it. Yeah, hold in your cache. It's a lot easier than carrying 2 big cans, guys. So check it out, guys. This is easy to store. And for your long-term food storage, the stuff that you want to hide, so they won't come get it. And that's what you need to consider. Buy beans, buy rice, all that stuff. This stuff is best for hiding, putting your caches, bugging out with, and it lasts a long, long time. Enough said. Prepwithgreg.com. Prepwithgreg.com. G-R-E-G, not 2 G's. All right, here we go. Let's get into this. We're going to talk about what is happening with Russia. What's making Putin laugh? So here we are, guys. This is not where I want to start. We're going to come over here. Bang. Russia's financial system is booming while the U.S. faces recession. And this is, again, because of what? You know, hey, we're cutting off the oil. We're cutting it down. We're trying to restrict ourselves. We're trying to blah, blah, blah. What's that done? It's driven oil prices up. And what's happened? Russia's found other markets. And by the way, even the United States and European countries are still buying from Russia. But I'm going to show you some surprises. So what does this mean? It means that Russia's actually making more money than ever. Guys are making money hand over fist. Russia's financial system is booming, according to International Institute of Finance, and how the massive oil and gas revenues have positively impacted the Russian financial system, even after the sanctions. Guys, the ruble crashed at least at first, and then it popped back. You see this? This is what happened. The ruble crashed, and the economy looked like it was going to crash, and then bang, look here, it popped back higher than it was. It was over here, and it's come out even stronger. You think I want to make Putin laugh longer? Yeah, check this out. Russia's oil revenues soar despite sanctions. Even our media over here, and this is admitting it. Russia's oil revenues soar despite sanctions. I kid you not. I kid you not. Russia earned what is likely a record 93 billion euros in revenue from exports of oil and gas and coal in the first 100 days of their little incursion into Ukraine. Wow. That's a fair bit for Russia. Now that's wow, record for them. And they can put that money back, guess where? As we see on the whole scheme of things, Russia's only number 6 in terms of oil reserves. Gas may not be counted as the United States is way down here 9. I don't know if this includes shale oil, but as I talked about recently, shale oil has been way overrated, apparently. But the country that's the richest country on earth, or should be, is Venezuela. Those people are starving to death. Why? Because they're communist. Communism don't work, guys. I've heard some people say, oh, it's because they're corrupt. Show me a communist country that's not corrupt. It's any one party state which communism has to be goes corrupt by definition. So here you go, guys. I feel sorry. There's some beautiful people in Venezuela, and they're going through a rough time down there. And Colombia just falling in the same trap. But hey, it should be the richest nation on earth, and they're one of the poorest. But anyway, guys, look here. Russia becomes India's second biggest oil exporter. This is Hindustan Times. Hindustan Times, guys. You scan Hindustan Times? I don't kiss me just looking at Western media, guys. And let's see. Oilprice.com. Oh, we missed one. Oh, yeah. Russia overtakes Saudi Arabia as China's top oil supplier. Well, go figure. This is why it's happening, guys. Russia has supplanted Saudi Arabia in the two most populous nations on earth, China and India. Well, holy walking smoke-a-moly. There's that figure again. Yeah, well, I guess we did underestimate Russia's ability to weather sanctions. Now, what they're not getting is computer chips, and that's going to affect some of their electronics in their military systems for now. Now, we'll come back to this. They may have a strategy to do this. Now they got their pocket full of money. And furthermore, for those that think that I hear all this time that, oh, somebody's about to topple Putin, he's about to be kicked out, he's about to lose his position. Really? 78% of Russians say Putin is doing a good job. 78% of Russians are saying Putin is doing a good job. Well, okay, there's a catch here. It says, well, that's because it's a state-run poll. So it may not actually be 78%, but, you know, most likely it is somewhat north of President Biden's support right now, which I don't think this is true anymore. It says 36% approve. I think it's down in the 20s last time I looked at this. And these are disapproved numbers. So Biden is down in the dumpers. The last time I saw this poll, another poll said 20%. So anyway, this just gives you an idea of how that's going right there. Wow. So I think that Putin is more popular in Russia than Biden is in this country. Now, maybe because the people there don't have perfect news. It's everything they get comes to them through the state-controlled news media. Some people are fearing that our inability to confront him. But why? Because this is already a nuclear war by blackmail. It's a war of nuclear blackmail. All right, Putin warns Ukraine and their Western allies about the future war. We haven't even started yet, he says. Of course, yeah, we're saying he's being kicked, he's having a tough time. And in many ways they have. This claims that Russia has lost 39,000 troops who perished. There's claims that 120,000 of them have been injured. Well, let's see. You're talking roughly 40 and 120. That's roughly 160,000 of their 200,000 they started with. That's a major fraction of the troops they started with getting knocked out. Well, Russia has 800,000 troops available right now, supposedly. Basically a million-man army. So what's the story with that? Well, now they're claiming that Ukraine has 700,000 troops. Wow. Now, Ukraine has a much smaller population base to draw against. So we're going to go into this war and the status of the war in this Putin Laughs things too. But yeah, he says we hadn't even got started yet. And in true, there's talk that tomorrow, which will be today by the time you see this, that the Duma is going to meet. In fact, they will probably have already had this meeting because it's already daytime over there. It's 10 minutes till the 12th here, and they're probably over there already having lunch, or they've already had this meeting. But Putin called a special session of the Duma, which is the Congress of Russia, called their members of the Duma back from their dachas from their summer vacations for an emergency meeting. And the rumors has it that this meeting is going to be about a declaration of war. It's Ukraine, supposedly. Lithuania might fall in that because Lithuania's embargo is to start on the 12th, the full embargo. Who knows how this is going to play out, guys? You may already know by the time this is posted, but holy smoke, guys, something to be concerned about. But definitely they are talking about going more in to this war. Now, like I said, they put 200,000 troops in initially, and they had 800,000 available. Well, some of them have to do other jobs too, of course, besides just go into Ukraine. So here again is a map of Ukraine in the occupied region. So this is a good time to look at perspective here. In a matter, so they went in on the 24th, I believe, of February. So what we got? We got March, April, June, July. Not quite 4 months, guys. And they've taken 20% of the country. Better than 20%. Russians have taken better than 20% of this country within some, less than 4 months. So if they can, supposing it's stalled down, but if you, what would they need to take the rest of it? They got 20%. Well, there's only 4 more fifths to be taken. So if you multiply 4 times 4 months for each fifth, then it actually wouldn't be 4 months. But let's say they bog down or stay bogged down, which they may not if they go into full operation. But what would that take them totally? That would take them 5 sessions from the time they started of 4 months. Now that's 20 months. That's less than 2 years. If you look at the war between the states, the United States had not made this much progress in the South, and it took them 4 years to win the war. So to say that Ukraine's winning, hey, the South was winning the war between the states to start with. And it took a couple of years for the North to turn that tide around a little bit. And really the third year it was really the third year into the war that they really started pushing hard. So, the South was doing pretty good up to that point. And then what caused the South to lose was just, hey, attrition. The North had more people, more factories, more stuff to fight with. It may not have had as much resolve man per man, but they had a lot more men to throw in it. A lot more. And the same comparison holds for Ukraine versus Russia, even more so, far more so. And what you got to bear in mind is Ukraine's got about 40 million people as opposed to 140 million out of Russia. That's a huge disparity. So Russia could up the ante quite a lot. Now, these guys are fighting for their lives. And typically an invasion force, the rule of thumb is it needs to outnumber the force that's invading 4 to 1. The North was able to do that against the South. But so far, we got, 200,000 fighting 700,000 Russians versus bigger Ukrainian force. And I don't know if all those Ukrainians were not all regular troops. A lot of them are just conscripted in. And I don't know about the level of training they've got, for the entire breadth of them. Of course, some of them are pretty sophisticated. They can operate HIMARS. They can operate MLRS. They can operate various drones at their disposal. So, they're smart people. But holy smoke, guys, the rate of advancement is going to be less than 2 years till Russia takes the whole country if they continue at the same rate. Big if. Of course, they got to cross this Dnieper River. Oh, but they've already done it. There's a little place called Kherson. This may be where it's going to be about. Look at Kherson. There's already explosions here in Kherson near the airfield. They got some bombings up here north of Kherson. Air raids over here on the, looks like the Ukrainian side of this. So this is a map of the war at the moment. Clashes in Luhansk region. See, Luhansk has supposedly been taken by Russia entirely now, and they're about to go to Donetsk. But look, there's still a lot going on over here. All right, Russian helicopters doing airstrikes. Several of those. I wonder if one of the sirens over here. So this hasn't settled down yet over here in Luhansk. But let's look at this stuff. I'll tell you what, let's take this to outer. I am going to share a view from Halo. Let's go share a view from Google Earth. What's important here? This is the Dnieper River. I've mentioned to you guys in a video a couple times now that the reason the United States is so great is we got this huge grain. In the United States, we have a huge grain belt, a huge agricultural and resource center. It's all serviced by the Mississippi, Ohio, Missouri River system. That almost entire inland part of our country has easy access via water, which costs 1/16 as much as the cheapest overland transportations, and we can get in and out of ports and travel it all through river. Well, Ukraine had the same thing in a minuscule scale here, and they were able to come down the Dnieper, and also they used they did use Mariupol and passed as a port. That's gone. But they still got Odessa in their pocket right now. That's one reason we maintain Odessa, but Odessa isn't quite the mouth of the river. Kherson, though, is a very strategic asset on this river. Yeah, the Russians have had a hard time crossing these rivers. It's possible you would say that Russia might get stopped at the Dnieper, except they didn't. They've actually crossed it here in Kherson because Kherson is on the other side of the river. Let's scan down in here so I can show you this. This is why Kherson is going to be such a strategic battle come ahead, because the Ukrainians are talking about a grand surge to the south, and they would definitely love to recapture Kherson and have at least one side of this riverbank. While they would announce their plans, that's kind of anti-Sun Tzu. So they might have something else up their sleeves. But just Russia being here gives them the access to cross. They've already crossed, and they might be able to gain access to Odessa and take out Odessa if they follow that. So that would not be good for Ukraine at all. There's Odessa. So it might give them a lot. Of course, they still got a few rivers to cross, a few more, but it's not an insignificant river there. But it definitely puts them across the Dnieper, which gives them access to a lot of Ukraine. I think storm north from here, if they can, and that's an if. But like I said, just look at the history of the Civil War, the war between the states, as we know in my area, here in the United States. It took the Union Army 4 years to take the South. 4 years. 4 years of hard fighting. There were more deaths in the war between the states in the United States than there was in almost every war we fought up until just recent wars in my lifetime. So it was horrific. There were entire battles that had more deaths than Vietnam War, or as many almost. We're talking 50,000 dead in the Battle of Gettysburg. And so that is, this total war here is just starting to reach that kind of number. But Russians are used to losing hundreds of thousands of people in wars and still pushing forward. So don't think that means that Russians are out of the game. One thing that is hurting Russia is they are having a drop in population. So they're going to be less and less able to do these things. But again, see there, the Dnieper River is very, very vital to Ukraine. It cuts the country in half. It's a major transportation route. Yet and it also divides east and west Ukraine quite nicely. The Russians will be on this side and be able to come in from down here. Gives them a lot of access. Now, let me stop this share. Halo. Let's go back to the maps we were looking at before. You look at what is occupied here, guys. I'm trying to follow. What I'm saying is this is where they're springing forward from. Oh yeah. What Russia has here, the eastern part of Ukraine, is the most industrialized part of Ukraine. Also, this eastern flats in here are the most significant agriculture production area. I mean, this gets some, but this is a huge agricultural region in Ukraine. It's the best soil. This side of the Dnieper, maybe a little bit on this side, but this is the best that Ukraine has. This is also their main factories. This is the industrial region. Ukraine is losing a lot over here in those regards. That's why Russia wants it. But then again, like I said, these areas wanted to be part of Russia anyway. Or seemingly, if an area really wants to be part of some other country, they should have that chance. But then Ukraine shouldn't be snuffed out either, because they don't want to be part of Russia. All right, so let's go forward here. Now, what's interesting is, and I want to show all that first. Supposedly, Vladimir Putin wants to negotiate now, and he's trying to find a way to get some negotiations open with the West. Well, with the West and not with, yeah. Why does he want that? What is Putin aiming for? Well, there are those that say that Putin is aiming actually just to get a chance to regroup, and that any peace treaty today is not a guarantee against war, in a few years. Just like the let's see. Anyway, so look here, guys. We want to look what the capabilities are on each side. It's all these numbers, Bain, Metaltex, and NATO. A lot of these numbers are misleading. The United States has got very few, just maybe 200 or 300 tanks, as far as I know, actually in Europe. Turkey is not going to put their tanks in this battle. I doubt if Greece will. We're looking at Poland, Romania, Bulgaria. These are the main countries. Now look, the countries facing Russia have got the most tanks down here of the other European countries. Well, what's part of the system? You know what it's like. They're going to be part of it. This is not, as many as Russia has. So it's thought that Russia might roll easily through the rest of Europe, because look, we're talking 300,000 troops on the European side versus 800,000 Russians. Not a good match for the West. So I am going to stop this share. We'll talk for a second. So what does it really mean? Why does it wrap up? What am I really getting at? Well, you see, correct. Russia's under sanctions. They can't possibly prosecute the war much longer. They're running out of stuff for the missiles. They can't make their high precision missiles anymore. That may be true for now. What Russia can produce is lots of artillery, lots of ammunition. Artillery ammunition don't require computer chips. In fact, the Tsar Bomba did not have a computer chip in it either. Guidance systems, for accuracy purposes, I prefer to have computer chips, especially if you need pinpoint accuracy. But the Tsar Bomba, nah, there's no chips in that thing. It was detonated in 1962, for Pete's sake, or 61. So go back and look at these things, guys. What you got to realize is that what Russia is doing is they're peppering Ukraine with artillery. Now, what Ukraine has done is use the HIMARS, the M142 HIMARS, and the M270 multiple launch rocket systems, getting those two to attack the ammunition bunkers. They're not just attacking Russian troops. They're attacking the thing the Russians are used to attack them, and they're wiping out several ammo bunkers. Now, overall, against the whole scheme of things, that's a small amount. But the thing is, the Russians are actually hand loading off their train into the warehouse all this ammunition, and then they get hand loaded into whatever trucks or whatever's going out in the field. They don't have forklifts. It's a very slow operation. as these places get taken out, it's really hard for the Russians to keep pace. Even the Russians probably have this speculated by some source to be up to 43 million artillery shells. They've used over a million against Ukraine already. There's places that looks like, bad case of acne with craters in Ukraine, just peppered with craters all over the place from all this artillery. Artillery's nasty, guys. But they've only used a fraction of what they got. But if they can't get it to the battlefield, they can't get it to the guns, the soldiers with the artillery shooting into Ukraine are at risk. And it gives the Ukrainian forces a lot more ability to fight back. So there's two sides of that. So where's all this go in the long run? In the long run, overall, in war of attrition here, right now in the early phase, it's on the side of Ukraine because the guys are fighting for their lives. They're fighting for the country's existence. Because Putin wants to say there is no Ukraine. Putin would just soon get rid of the Ukrainians. Anybody that might be resistant to him in the future, he'd rather force them into exile or get rid of, just extinguish them, if you know what I mean. Sanction with extreme prejudice was the terminology that was popular back in the 80s. Put the lights out. So that's what he would prefer to do if he could get away with it. They would like to eradicate the Ukrainians. Already, Vladimir Zhirinovsky said that. And that's a part of the kind of policy Russia's following is that, if you attack a place and you're real heavy, and then you allow the refugees to flee, you figure anybody else left is a combatant in their free game. So that's the game they're playing. Try to get them to run into exile, and whoever's left they can do with as they please, because that means they're a combatant and the enemy, according to the Russian philosophy. Is that true? No, there's some people just can't flee. But that will they now try to go? Will they settle at Donetsk and Luhansk? Is this what they want to do with the peace treaty? Would they really stop there? Russia's goals are, as I said before, is to get out there and stop invasion routes coming into Russia. And they push that forward. Well, the treaty, now they got money in their pockets full of money. If they'd suddenly sign a treaty now, all the hostilities stop and sanctions drop off, maybe they'll take all that money and buy them a whole bunch of computer chips. Just push it down. That's what they might do. Now they got flush with cash, get a treaty. We love you, smile, shake hands, and then boom, 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 a few years later. That's a possibility. That's a strong possibility, my friends. Here's another thing. Here's what we got to worry about. Russian troops have bogged down. They've not made the progress they want. And they've said if they lose Kherson, that's an excuse for them to fling nukes. What we're talking about is the theater size and tactical nuke weapons, smaller yield weapons. Those will be very decisive in a battlefield. Eradicate the enemies. So if they use them against population centers, the whole world would be up in arms against Russia. But if they use them against the troops in Ukraine, what's the United States really going to do? Nothing. The United States going to risk everything because if anything Russia actually does in Ukraine, we'll not send a few more missiles, more ammo over, but are we going to get involved and engage in a nuclear conflict? In fact, we might be pulling back even more. So I would say not. It's not in the doctrine. There's nothing said the United States would do it or could do it or should do it. So I don't expect to see it happen. It's not something I am looking for. So just keep that in mind. That is definitely a source of concern because it could escalate down the road. It may not initially. The whole world might suddenly just get kind of used to a few nukes getting thrown around, which is not good either. And when Russia finally mops up in Ukraine, if they manage to do that, we're going to look out. What's the next target? This is already a nuclear war in a sense. I mean, it's been a war of nuclear blackmail. Blackmail that the Russians have threatened because they keep threatening to nuke has kind of made the West stand back a bit, and maybe we should. But guys, here's the bottom line. In the end, Russia has far greater nuclear advantage than the United States across the board. They've got more missiles. But submarine, well, they got submarines that can launch from port, unlike ours. They are intercontinental ballistic missiles, farther range. They've got hypersonic missiles. They've got the Tsar II coming online. The Poseidon nuclear torpedo is now in the field, in the water. The things that they have available already are mind-boggling. They far outnumber us. We got rid of our tactical nukes. We had once deemed that if there was a Russian invasion, the only way we could save ourselves, given Russian numbers being greater than NATO numbers and troops, and given their artillery superiority, we figured we would have to use tactical nukes. But George H.W. Bush got rid of them after the wall fell. That was W's dad, Bush the elder. Just unilaterally, Russia kept theirs. Russia would like to use those on the battlefield in Europe. How far would they go? All right, so my next video, I'm going to talk about how Russia, or one of my next videos, I'm going to tell you how Russia can take Alaska away from the United States on paper. Paper is very significant. Now listen, see what that means. I'm not saying it's going to work, okay? But what else does that tell? Defeat of the United States. How Russia can beat us. Absolutely how Russia can beat us. And why it might be to their advantage just to go ahead and do it. Very sobering thought. I'm going to live on it. Coming up. So, subscribe to my channel, bang the notification bell, and click on. And come back from 2 or 3 times a week. Make sure you catch up on any videos that you might have missed. Maybe daily. I always post daily. I try to as much as I can. But come back and just check in case you didn't get notifications. I'm always having people tell me, how to get notification. All right. So there we are, my friends. It's a somber time. Say Putin laughs. Yeah, Putin's laughing. Putin has said that they can win a nuclear war. They will win a nuclear war. He said he thinks a nuclear war in the United States is inevitable. That's the scary part. That kind of fits what Joel Skousen was talking about when he said that the intelligence sources, the CIA and the FBI and such, NSA, they're saying that Russia actually has plans to hit us with a first strike. It's in their plans to do that. The same with China. Does not mean they'll actually do it. And that's what he thinks. He thinks that means they actually will do it. So pray that's not the case. Peace through strength. We let our strength drop. I know what's happening. Can't do that. You got to still be strong. All right, my friends. More to come. That I want to say, Greg out.